Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, for episode 285 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing, recorded live from western, northeast, South Dakota. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
Tommy, boy, oh boy, do we have some stuff to talk about today.
The list is full.
Whew, this is going to be a good one.
Like always.
Yes. You know what else is going to be good?
I got a feeling what you're about to say here.
My transition into ads. That's what's going to be good.
Amazing.
Today's episode is brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. They're your solution to strength. No BS training, nutrition, and education for the hybrid athlete. You can get access to proven training programs that have delivered life-changing gains and podium finishes for thousands of people. You can take your training and nutrition to the next level, get a personalized nutrition plan, plus a dedicated coach in your corner, helping you navigate your nutrition journey. Head into every workout and every day knowing that you will be challenged and end the day better than when you started. Please visit them at hybridperformancemethod.com. They've got their strength coach app. They've got their training and nutrition programming, both available for you there. And on all that stuff, you can save 5% by using our discount code. It's MASS, M-A-S-S, in all caps. That'll save you that sweet, sweet 5% at hybridperformancemethod.com.
That sounds so simple, Tanner.
It's so simple a caveman could do it.
Might
We've
be
done
onto
this
something.
one before.
Oh, yeah. You do this long enough, you'll do them all, right?
I only know so many things in my head, so it's like...
I only have so many catchphrases to fall back on. You pull my string enough times, you'll hear them all.
We're like Woody from Toy Story.
It's happening to me again.
Toy Story, not a bad movie, though.
I've never... Okay, is there 3 or 4? I honestly can't remember.
Remember how that one time I said I might catch you with some pop, overrated, underrated? The guys and gals in the Discord community have really been pushing for actually do some spontaneous over-under. They did say, though, that they would really like it if I read the rules again.
Yeah.
Like for old time's sake.
I did see that. Yep. Everyone's kind of a stickler for the rules. People might not think they are, but
that's...
people do have a thing for rules.
Quite honestly, we probably got kind of lax on the rules for underrated, overrated over the last couple of years, haven't we?
I think so, yeah.
Do you want to hear the rules?
I think probably, we'll save our guests the problem of hearing all of them, but just to give people a taste of what's to come later.
There's for sure people that started listening to the podcast that have probably never heard
the rules.
Read the rules of overrated and underrated. There's a rule book.
Well, so we'll just let people know that if you are listening for the first time, later on in the show, we like to play a little game with our guests. And
if they're up for it.
Yeah, if they're up for it. And there are rules to it. We typically we've really started to give the abridged version of the rules lately, but there was a full version. Okay. Maybe you should read that, Tanner.
Yes, here they are. Underrated or overrated consists of lightning round questions asked by myself to Tommy. The questions come from a variety of topics, including, but not limited to, pop culture, current events, food, and technology. There are also lifting-related topics sprinkled in. It's important to remember that the questions are, in fact, lightning round, but the answers are not necessarily. Tommy has his what? His druthers when it comes to the length of his answers. What are druthers, you ask? Well, Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines druthers as a person's preferences in a matter. All that being said, there does have to be a final answer. This initial issue of overrated or underrated must be clearly resolved in the end. Due to demand, we have added an FAQ section for overrated, underrated. Question: can Tommy come up with his own over-under topics? Answer: it is not suggested or preferable, but under special circumstances, it could be petitioned to be allowed. Question: can the rules change? Answer: the rules are fluid. They are a living, breathing organism that can evolve with time.
And they did change.
Yes.
Wow. I had not heard those full rules in a very long time.
Does that kind of actually take you back?
Yeah, it did.
I'm like, it is funny how I could read that one. when you read something new, like an ad for the first time, sometimes it's a little bit like, oh,
Yeah, you kind of.
why are the words so hard?
Yeah.
And like, they don't feel like they flow.
It's like the first time you read the Texas Power Bars.
Right.
Like,
It's like,
there's so much going on.
1970,
So many years,
1982.
and then you read it a few times, and it's like a part of who you are then.
Yeah, so it's like, strong as a house. Of course it is. But yeah, that was kind of like riding a bike, reading the rules.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So the pop overrated, underrated topic. Tommy, overrated or underrated? The Toy Story quadrilogy. I don't know what you call it when
Okay,
that's for.
I've never seen the fourth. For sure, I've never seen the fourth.
It's relatively new. I kind
Yeah.
of remember that one.
And I'm pretty sure I haven't seen all of the third one either.
We've been running through them at my house
Yeah,
because that's one of the shows that like Pixar has been my go-to because it's something that my 3-year-old, my 10-year-old, and I can all
and that's
watch.
why I've thought about for a while. Like I could really run through all the Pixar movies on my own, but
You better
I
save
know
it.
I know I'm going to be doing that again
No,
here soon.
I would
so
seriously
am gonna
recommend
save it.
saving that because there's only so many things that you both want to watch.
Yeah.
Like that, it's like
Yep. So I'm going to save that. So I still think like Toy Story is probably underrated for, what it did for movies and all that stuff. It kind of invented the whole 3D
right.
genre with
Right.
movies, like with that whole thing. I think I do have to go underrated for Toy Story, even though it is probably one of the highest rated
True.
series of all time. I think it is just that good. You have to get
It is
underrated.
really good.
Yeah.
So that was our
There it
special
is.
pop version of overrated, underrated.
There it is. I listened to the Steve Jobs biography last year, and I did not understand how instrumental he was in the funding and
Of Toy Story?
Pixar. Yeah, basically, it was a huge. It was
Did he
kind
come
of
up with the lamp thing where it springs out and jumps on the eye?
I don't know if he came up with that, but I don't know. Depending on how much you remember, like kind of the first. I might be getting my timelines mixed around here, but one of the first IMAX was kind of inspired by that because it had like kind of this bulbous base. And then it had that same sort of lamp. And then instead of a lamp being on the end, it was a screen.
Okay.
So if you look at an iMac from like, like probably early
right,
2000,
right.
they
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
had that look.
Yeah.
It's changed quite a bit since then, but that's kind of where a lot of that came. But yeah, he pumped like a ton of his own money into them. And like Toy Story was sort of their first idea. And so he was, you can definitely thank him for Pixar being a thing nowadays.
And thank him for making turtlenecks cool.
Black turtlenecks, and you could also maybe thank him for iPhones too, I guess, if you're into that at all.
If you use one of those old things.
One of those old things. Dude, Tanner, I have maybe the oldest piece of follow-up we've ever had on this podcast. And
great.
I don't even know who, or I just know this is from maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Okay, great.
Someone at one point, because there was a while where I feel like we were both really knocking through like bigger podcasts that were like, yep, this is like a 10-part story or something.
Right.
And then we
Serial,
and we talk about those quite a bit.
S-Town.
Like, way back in the day, we talk about those a fair amount, and we'd always get recommendations. And someone, I guess I can put a timeline on this a little bit because I think the podcast was from 2018 or 19. So it was for sure 2 years ago at least. But someone had recommended To Live and Die in LA.
Okay.
And whenever they recommended that, I put that on my to listen to list.
And you finally got to it.
And we went on a little road trip this past weekend, and my wife said, "What are we going to listen to?" And I said, "I have a list that I keep that we haven't looked at the list forever."
Right.
And we popped it open, and To Live and Die in LA was on there. Actually, I had like 3 on there. She looked them up and she said, "This one sounds the most interesting." We listened to it, and it was pretty good.
What was it about?
So it's about.
I want to know if I should listen to it.
Yeah, it's about this.
We probably talked about this years ago.
We might have actually talked about this. The guy's name is Neil Strauss. He is a reporter for Rolling Stone.
Okay.
And he, at the time, had done some investigative work on like a murder that I think someone brought to his attention because the cops weren't what they thought they didn't think the cops were being serious enough about it. So they thought, all right, we'll get this journalist on it.
Yep.
And so he got a little notoriety for that. So there was another murder that happened in LA.
Murder?
Yeah, kind of the same thing where they felt like, hey, maybe there's not enough eyes on this. There's not enough going on. And this one was very, very recent at the time of recording. And so he starts digging into it. And it's just about a lady that was trying to become an actress gets murdered, and him and a private investigator tracing the steps back and seeing where it goes. And it maybe got a little drawn out. It's by the same, I can't remember if we've talked about this on Up and Vanish. Did you ever?
Sounds familiar.
it's by the same guy that did that, and I think they go a little overboard with like the production, like to the point where it's like it's really creepy, and then you're like, this, what's going on here? Then you realize, oh, they're reading an ad. Like they slip in, like to me, ads should be kind of a little obvious,
Right.
Especially in a story like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the whole thing, and then you realize, oh, they're reading me an ad right now.
Yeah,
Like, this isn't the
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Like they
It's
do
like,
some stuff
oh,
like that I think
Reese's
is dumb.
peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
So where do these come from?
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think it was like 14 or 15 episodes, around 30 to 40 minutes each. So it is a
pretty
bit of
good, yeah.
It is a bit of a time
It's a
investment,
jaunt.
but it's no S-Town or Serial. I can say that. Those are still in a league of their own, in my humble opinion.
League of Their Own. That was a movie.
That was in fact a movie. You are
Tom
right.
Hanks
Yeah, and those ladies,
playing softball.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Is she in there?
I think
She
she's in
might
it.
be in there.
Pretty sure she's in it.
The main.
I've never seen it, so I can't say for certain. But
It's the one where there's no crying in baseball. Yeah.
that's like the only line I could have told you in the whole thing.
That's
yeah.
the bit. I just saved you having to watch the movie. There's no crying in baseball.
Thank you you for saving me that time.
Speaking of follow up, we had a pretty intriguing conversation last episode about a pretty hot button issue lately. It's the GHD versus GHR
The great
conversation. Had a post on it.
Actually, there was no debate between us. We were in, I think,
in
full agreement.
GHR territory.
Yeah.
And so there has been, we did have a post about that on Instagram, which did get a decent amount of interaction from people. I not surprised. I thought that it might.
Well, people on the internet have strong opinions.
And their opinions are all over the board on this, first of all. But what I could glean from it, based on the summation of all the different opinions and who they're coming from,
Yep.
and like there's a lot of like influential people even that weighed in on like what they think it is and why it's that way. And here's what I could take from it. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. The old school community would call it GHR.
Okay.
Just this is speaking in generalities.
Yep.
The old school community, like the people that work for Elite FTS, like I think it's Nate Harvey. He weighed in on that. A couple other people did, and some other what I would consider more old
people
school.
that have been around
Right.
a while.
They called it GHR, and they say, yeah, it's that damn CrossFit community that came up with GHD. And the description that people give, like what I heard from a few different people, is GHD is the piece of equipment. GHR is the exercise.
I saw that too. I'm like, well, that's not how this works across the board for.
And that was what some other people argued with, because they said you don't call a lat pull down a lat developer and the exercise is a lat pull down.
Yeah, I think
It's
someone
just-
else said the bench press isn't the bench developer,
Right,
or
right,
the tech
right.
developer.
And then there was counterpoints to that argument that, well, it's because there's, I actually heard it, both people that thought it should be GHD argued this in opposite ways, but both for the point that it should be in GHD. Someone said, because there's a lot of different exercises you do on it, the machine is a GHD, but that particular exercise is a GHR. Someone said the opposite, that because you really only can do one thing on it, that's the the lift is the GHR and the machine is the GHD. Also,
Well, I
the
think there were
companies
several people that also wrote like, no, that's a CrossFit curl or like CrossFit.
right,
sit-up
yes,
machine or
right,
whatever.
right. And they're also like, yeah, that's what I lean my coat on and stuff like that. But the websites I pulled from, Rogue Fitness, Rep, Sorinex, and Elite FTS. Elite FTS is the only one that calls it a GHR. The other one are all GHD,
Wow.
and that also,
To be fair, Rogue probably made theirs first, and then Rep just copied their naming on that, so that one almost doesn't count there.
yes, that's very possible. But that's kind of stands up to that logic that the more old school, which out of those companies, Elite FTS is the most old school of them, and speaking in general terms.
I'm trying to think of like any like real like legacy equipment companies like Hammer Strength or something like that.
Right.
What they
Right.
if they even have it, you know,
Right,
like do those
right.
companies
Do
even
they make
have it?
something
And
like
if they
that?
did they make it more recent or farther back than, you know, like the last 5 years? Because
Michael Fahey from Westside versus the World said, no, it's a glute ham calf or calf ham glute or something like that. So
Yeah.
that must be another older even yet term, maybe perhaps, or, you know, like less
that's got
commonly.
to be one of the pieces of equipment that has the most the most turmoil on the
Yeah.
name, doesn't it? I'm trying
So
to think of what else
it-
even fits into that of
You
people
know,
not being
like,
on the same page.
Right. I don't know. But after like weighing all those points in, how do you feel? Do you feel any differently about the?
Well-
what do you think of the GHD is the machine and the GHR is the lift? Because
I mean,
I don't like that.
I mean, that argument.
Yeah,
You're
I-
going to tell me that argument. Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense logically. Was
Yeah.
that the reasoning that it is that way? I don't know how you could prove that. Right.
Well, and I still lean more in the camp of the old school approach on that it's just a GHR.
See,
And
that's what
GHD
I
isn't
always-
a thing.
I mean, me.
I don't like that. Like, no, the GHD is the machine. The GHR is the exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. I like GHR.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not wavering on that then.
Well,
it is
nope,
GHR.
nope. If there's one
Okay.
thing I learned, you take a position and you never change your mind.
No matter
ever.
what anyone else says.
Nope.
And actually no matter what, if the more they say, the more you stick
Yep.
to it.
No
And-
matter what bridges you might burn, what opportunities it might cost you in life, you do not change your mind. That is the rules.
That's right. It's like those people have no common sense.
It's
Sense
clearly
isn't
if you have any common sense, you
Yeah.
would know it's a GHR.
Sense isn't all that common these days. It
Nope,
doesn't seem
it's
like.
not. Not everyone has it.
Oh.
So yeah, if you have common sense, it's a GHR. I think that's the takeaway.
So that's our update on that. Probably more to be continued on that in the future still, I would think.
I don't think it's the last we'll hear of that. Tanner, I want to tell you about something now.
Speaking of things that aren't the last we're going to hear of.
And I think you're going to like what I'm going to
right.
tell you here. Today's episode is brought to you by SPUD Inc. and the Gateway Briefs One Ply.
Oh.
Whether you're just entering the world of geared powerlifting or you're a pro who needs a milder set of briefs for your light squat and deadlift days, the SPUD Inc. Gateway Briefs are the answer. The easy on, easy off Gateway Briefs provide mild hip compression that supports and warms your joints while enabling you to overload and squat and deadlift safely without risk to your hips. And if you're just learning the geared squat, the Gateway Briefs can give you an easier transition than traditional briefs. Available in 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. There's one for every body type.
That's right.
You can check out the SPUD Inc. Gateway One Ply Briefs online at spud-inc-straps.com.
Thank you, Spud Inc.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got some other things we got to talk about too here.
Oh, I think you have a little something over there. waiting
Yeah,
for
actually,
us.
let's do that. I'm very excited to find out what we're dealing with
I know.
here.
I am too.
So first, maybe we'll just hold up this, but there's a letter to go along with this. So I don't know what that is. Haven't opened it. I haven't tampered with it.
Okay.
We have this. Luckily, this
Read
does
me.
say "read me" on the outside. Otherwise, I'm not sure if we would have known.
It is a letter in a plastic bag. It's easy to. It would be easy to throw away on accident.
And I think this is from Big Matt,
Okay.
Mr. Mostly Squats videos
Yep.
himself,
The one and only.
the one and only.
You could call him a Discord superstar.
Yeah,
too.
he's our favorite Bostonian Rhode Islander ever. Okay. So I don't know. This has not been pre-screened, so there
Okay.
could be foul language in this. So
expletives. Just
Bernie,
waiting.
cover your ears with your paws if you could. Dear Midwesterners, how do you like them fucking apples?
Is that actually what it said?
No, but I just wanted to do an accent, and I can only do it if I say I can only do it in
yeah.
Goodwill Hunting
Yeah,
lines. If you're going to commit the foul sin of combining pizza and milk, at least make sure that it's coffee milk. Coffee milk? What's that? I'm glad you asked. The official state drink of Rhode Island is delicious. Use the syrup in this box to make it. Has Basement Brandon ever sent you a bottle? I think not. Referring to our other Rhode Island listener and supporting member.
Yes.
Sincerely, mostly squat videos. P.S. Where contest? I'm so bored that I've resorted to writing letters to podcasts. We do have ideas for contests.
Okay.
We will
Yeah,
have-
we do. We
hopefully
do.
have
Actually, there's
contests
going to
coming
be
soon.
one coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah.
So should I open this?
Yeah.
So this is a Ziploc bag with some type of cylindrical
A
object
roll of paper towels.
covered in a lot of paper towels. Let's get to the bottom of this here.
Was anything harmed in the shipping of this package?
I think we're okay.
I have another can segment at home from someone else that they also sent in, so we'll be getting to that one in a future episode as well.
Okay, I actually thought this would just unroll much easier than what it is, but
That's a lot of paper. Paper towels are expensive. It's like a whole roll of Bounty.
a whole roll of Bounty. That's how you know it's good. Oh. Whoa. Autocrat coffee syrup. What? Official state drink of Rhode Island, coffee milk. I don't get it. Do you drink it or do you put it in stuff?
He said here, he even gave us directions because he knew we would not know.
A simple
Use the syrup in this box to make it. Oh, okay.
Oh,
I don't know what the recipe.
Mix 2 tablespoons with 8 ounces of milk. Refrigerate after opening. Okay, so I guess we have to do some follow-up on this one.
Yeah.
Wow. This is something that I've never heard of, and I have no idea what this actually is.
Yeah.
Like, it just has to be kind of like a different
We should have
type
had
of
some
creamer,
milk.
right?
I should have had some milk prepared for us, but I wouldn't have known that part.
Okay, we'll have to check back in on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't stop the recording now. This would take too long.
Right.
So
Right. We've come this far.
we'll follow back up on that
Yeah.
one. There's something there. So, anyways,
What does that look like?
Thank you, Big Matt, for the Autocrat coffee syrup.
That does not look like
It looks like it'd
packaging.
be something you'd find in the baking aisle.
Yeah, yeah. That's not flashy.
No, it's
Just
very
like Rhode Islanders.
It's very understated. Yeah, I think that's their motto over there. Very understated.
And we talk like we're from Boston. But we're not.
Whatever they do
Yeah.
there. Well, thank you, Matt.
Get back to squats.
Back to the
Hope
squat.
your hernia recovery is proceeding nicely as well.
Going swimmingly.
Yes.
So we have now showdown meet coming up, Tanner.
Yeah, I think that's the next,
That's
big
next on the
thing we got
list.
here to talk about is the week that this comes out is the week that we're leaving for the showdown meet in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
In real time, that means next week. It means like 9 days from now is when we leave.
Yeah, so we're leaving on the morning of Friday, the 24th.
Yes, that's right. And what do we think we're going to leave? We're going to leave pretty early, probably. We've been kind of
Fairly early. It's for us, it's a short drive of
8-9 hours,
which is not exaggerating. Like, that is a short drive.
Yeah, we're like, it's pretty close. It's only a 9-hour drive.
Like as close to our neck of the woods as anything gets around here.
Yeah.
So we are headed down south
Yep.
to sunny Kansas City.
Oh, it's going to be warm down there, I bet.
Probably will be warm down there. It's got to be warmer than here
Yeah.
always, right? It actually hasn't been too cold here either. But
Yeah, so we're kind of getting things prepared. This will be the first event that we've gone to with a booth like this since our first and only ever Arnold.
yeah, this is
only the second time
event we've ever like gone to be in, to have a booth, like
Right.
to be an exhibitor. You know,
Right.
that's
Which is weird. See, it does seem weird. It seems
that does. It seems really weird that we've
Yeah.
been doing this long. We've only been able to go to one event
I'm
ever.
just now realizing we aren't prepared.
I thought you were gonna say like you had this whole list of things.
No.
Yeah, it is much. It feels after doing the Arnold once. I mean, there's definitely going to be something that doesn't go
Yeah.
our way, but if the stakes seem so much lower than like the Arnold, where booths are expensive, we're driving like 18 hours.
Yep.
We're taking a ton of shit. We have no idea what we're doing. There's like very strict rules how everything's supposed to work because there's so many people and there has to be rules.
Right.
And here, I think it's kind of like, hey, there's a gym and we're going to show up and yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of our dry run, I think. Or it's kind of our preparatory
For
stage
booth 2.0?
Yeah, for the big Arnold coming up, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. You know, part of it is the having a booth and the selling some stuff, hopefully. But the other big thing is there's going to be a whole bunch of people there that we've had on the podcast and
Yeah,
we've
getting
talked
out
to,
meeting people because that never happens for us.
No, big Jonathan Oldham will be there. Massenomics sponsored athlete. Big Ben Pollock is going to be there.
Is he?
I think, yeah, I don't think he's lifting, but he's going to be there, he said. So also Massenomics sponsored athlete.
Yeah.
I guess we've never really
Actually,
talked
I don't
about
think
that.
we have we?
Kaler, we added a couple to the team. Kaler Woolham and Ben Pollock are both on
Which
the
are a
Massenomics
couple
team.
of really
Heavy hitters.
yeah. I'm like in shock right now that we never talked. Like, this is actually kind of crazy. Like, it's sort of blown my mind.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever
We've just had so much going on. Tanner,
with everything going on
with
lately,
everything
can you
going on,
blame us?
there's only so many hours in these podcasts.
That's
we have.
right.
But yeah, I guess on a side note, we did add those guys to the team just
Yeah.
somewhat recently here. which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Super cool beans. But yeah, that'll be a big part about being there is just, getting to hang out with people and talk and watch the lifting too. Even like outside of the Arnold, I've never went to a quote unquote bigger, there's all kinds of big stuff going on at the Arnold, but this is kind of the premier sleeve meet, I guess.
The meet itself has a reputation that very few meets do.
So that should be fun. I'm really curious. I'm getting excited to go. I'm curious for what it holds. We're loading up the trailer with all the Massenomics gear.
Yeah. Hopefully by the time we leave the road, the trailer's looking very Massenomics-y.
Yeah, we had to get some new tires put on the trailer, got it ready to go. So now we just hopefully have a little more Massenomics pop to that trailer before then. Hopefully.
A lot can happen.
Yeah.
If things go the way they're supposed to, it's going to be a pretty fly looking trailer.
Yeah. It's almost like will be like a mobile billboard at that point in time.
Otherwise, I don't really have, neither one of us really have much for expectations just because we have no idea what to expect.
Right.
We know we went to the Arnold several times before we had a booth there. So we kind of had an idea of what the Arnold consisted of, but going to just a meet kind of in a farther away place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there going to be 100 spectators, 300, 400? I don't know. 50? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun time no matter what.
It'll be fun. It'll be cool beans.
Very cool beans. A lot of cool beans that weekend, right?
That's true.
Cool beans everywhere.
Cool beans are going to be flowing, aren't they? Actually, I don't really know that I'd be able to drink that much and still be able to get through everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, when there's a will, there's a way.
So hopefully some people that are listening to this are going to the meet. And if you are, make sure to definitely come by. And
it'd be really, really, really
don't
weird.
Talk to us. Only buy our stuff. Don't talk to it. No, I'm just
It'd be really weird if you're listening to this and going to the meet and you didn't say hi.
it would be if
you listen to the podcast and you sort of regularly, you're going there and you didn't stop by and say hi. Yeah, that can happen at the Arnold because the Arnold is so big.
Crazy enough,
I never even saw you guys there.
I don't think there's going to be 40 booths.
No,
at this thing. So
no,
but yeah, I hope people do stop by. We can chat it up, see what's happening, talk about our favorite sparkling water flavors.
Maybe get a sick pick for the gram.
A sick pick.
Hopefully we see some people wearing some Massenomics gear there.
I hope so. That'd make me happy.
Besides
obviously,
just you and I.
Obviously, no one's gonna be wearing lift shorts. That's a given.
Are they gonna be able to afford those?
But outside of that, who knows? Anything. People could be wearing all types of cool stuff.
That's true. So stay tuned for our report. Not next week's episode because we'll record that one before.
Before we leave,
okay,
I'm getting my timelines mixed around, but yeah, we'll record that one before we go.
Yeah.
So there will be a slight break in the a slight delay in the schedule.
So we can kind of have this conversation again next week. This same one. We can just say this all over again.
Well, at that point, people will be listening to it the week after, and then we'll talk about it. So you're going to get 3 weeks of the show. Yep. It's the perfect schedule. I like it.
The perfect plan.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
I don't think we'll have to, the Arnold, we always have to record one on the road, or we usually would. I think
we got it planned out.
I don't think we're going to record one on the road. We'll just record it when we get back.
Right.
Since we're only going to miss a couple days.
Right. You know what we're not going to miss?
Probably a really good ad.
A really good ad. Speaking of questions, do you know what's in your supplements?
Mm-hmm.
If you use Fusion Sports Performance, you always will. Fusion SP prides itself on being fully transparent, never using proprietary blends, and always providing its customers with top quality products. They offer 2 pre-workout options. Got yourself the Super Soldier pre-workout and the Mad Titan High Stim pre-workout. Both have great ingredients. They increase muscular endurance, maximize performance, improve focus, and get you that much sought-after pump. Healing Factor post-workout combines BCAAs and a full serving of creatine monohydrate and other great ingredients to help maximize your efforts in the gym, build muscle, and recover fast. They also have their whey protein isolate. Not only does it taste great, it also has 27 grams of protein per scoop. 0 fat, low or no carbs, depending on the flavor. It also doesn't contain any soy or gluten, and it won't cause any stomach discomfort. It's part of what I like about Fusion SP, keeping it pretty simple. Got yourself some pre-workout.
They keep it real.
Yep, your post-workout BCAAs and creatine, and you got your whey protein isolate in the chocolate of some sort. So that's kind of all you need. Just get yourself all of those supplements, and you'll be set. Most orders are shipped within 1 business day, and every Fusion Sports Performance product comes fully backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to fusionsp.net and use code MASS, MASS, to save a huge, massive 20% on your order. Thank you, Fusion SP. Tommy, should we get our guest on the line?
Let's do it.
It's about that time, isn't it?
It's guest time.
Here.
You're putting in your long distance calling card.
Yes. T.
Hello.
Hey, Big Steve, is that you?
Yeah, this is me.
All right, we're excited to get you on the Massenomics podcast. This is Tanner and Tommy.
What's up, Steve?
What's up, guys?
Not too much. We're luckily you said you're a night owl kind of guy, so we didn't catch you before going to bed.
Oh, dude, I don't sleep. I get like 3 or 4 hours a night. It's ridiculous.
like, is that on purpose, or you just can't sleep?
No, man, it was ever since I got sick, and then they put me on dialysis. It's like a side effect of that, you know, like it's just one of those things that does some strange shit to your body.
Oof. The no sleep. Tanner probably can relate to this. We go through stretches of you have the kids that don't sleep, and after like 3 days of that, I'm like ready to just like not live anymore. So I don't know how, I don't know how you cope with it, but
when it's someone else placing that on you, like, and you have like someone else responsible for it, it makes it so much worse.
Yeah,
I suppose. Yeah.
It's, I hate the little bastards. Turns into rage and shit.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess you, for anyone that doesn't know, I think you've had kidney failure, correct? And that's you get regular dialysis treatment.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed FSGS about 2 years ago. Was already at like 6% kidney function. I made it a year and went into basically full failure, and they put me on dialysis about a year ago. So it's like 5 days a week I do treatment, and actually I'm doing it right now. I run it at night.
Oh, so you do it at home. You don't have to like go somewhere every day.
The first 6 months I was in a clinic, and then it's just easier to do it on your own time, you know, and like when you switch to home therapy, you only have to do 3 hours a shot. So like I go to the gym and do my thing all day, and then I come home and do treatment at night while I'm relaxing, you know.
Oof. Sounds tough, man.
Yeah, like what if you want to go? What if you're going on vacation somewhere for a week? What do you do? Can you bring the stuff with you?
Good question, man. Yeah, like so I'm actually planning a trip in December, and there's like basically 2 options. You can like look for a clinic to go visit, and they'll set that up for you, and you just got to go every other day, you know, like you can't miss treatments like that.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, essentially you could. You're just going to feel like shit. So you just spend all that money to go on vacation and then just spend your time laying in bed.
Right.
But the other side of it, you could bring like the equipment I have, I can bring it with me, and then I can get supplies shipped there. So, you know, like as far as like getting out of the country, probably not going to happen. But across the states, man, it's pretty comparable.
Okay. So what's the end hope that, I mean, do you hopefully get a transplant at some point in time? Like,
That's the goal, man. Like, I mean, there's, since getting sick, like there's a lot of guys that have reached out to me that have been through the process. There's a lot of other guys that have been weightlifting, pro bodybuilders, like these guys that have kind of been similar paths. And after the transplant, you know, you're never the same. But you live a pretty normal life, you know, like you take some anti-rejection meds, and you're limited in some capacities, but, you know, it's better than the alternative. There's people that I've known, I'm sure you guys have known too, where you get diagnosed and they're gone in 4 months.
Right.
So at least this is something I can live with, and for the most part, a pretty normal life.
So, and maybe this is a dumb question, but is this both kidneys, or is it just one that have the problem?
Yeah, that's a pretty common question. It's both.
Okay.
Like your kidneys kind of work together. They're separate organs, but like when one goes, it's putting all the pressure on the other one. There are cases of people with certain degenerative issues where it only affects one kidney, and you can live with one kidney. So if you get it removed, like obviously there's living donors that donate a kidney and they live a pretty normal life with just the one kidney. But for the most part, like if you get sick or a disease, it's going to affect both of them.
So I'm sure you've talked about this with other people, and I haven't really heard it. And I think it's pretty interesting. Like what's training like since you've had, I mean, I know you do still train, your training's different obviously, and you do other stuff, but like, do you feel worse? Is recovering harder, or like?
That's the hardest part is the recovery aspect of it. Cause it's like, you go from running gear and having that helping you recover to going to a pretty natural state for a year until I recently got put on TRT through my doctors about 3 months ago. But that was, a year of trying to figure it out. And it was a lot of touch and go. So it was, am I pushing myself too hard to the point where I'm getting sick, or am I not doing enough in order to maintain? Right. And it was like a really fine line. Like I had to learn, like I can't train 4 or 5 days a week. You got to listen to your body a little bit more. My diet's completely changed. Yeah. I used to just like smash food in order to recover, and you just can't do that.
What is your diet like? Because I don't know shit about it, but as far the kidneys filter out toxins and stuff like that. So what about even just like supplements, like taking like protein powder or creatine powder? Like, do you have to, like, can you take any of that like you normally would, or do you have to worry more about stuff like that?
The minute I got sick, I stopped all of it. Like I think that pre-workout and all those things like played a pretty big role in how bad my disease got. And obviously like other things too. But anything that's like messing with your metabolism and anything that's harder on your body to digest, I think it's pretty much out of my diet now. So I eat a lot of like healthier natural foods, but like I even cut out caffeine just because it was affecting my blood pressure too much.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess we kind of skipped over this because we jumped right into it, but for anyone, I'm guessing most of our listeners are familiar with you, but for anyone that doesn't know, you own Indy City Barbell in Indianapolis, and you competed in powerlifting for many years. I don't know what you totaled, 20 something, benching 600 pounds, squatting and deadlifting like over 800 pounds. So at points in time, you've been, one of the strongest dudes in the world, really.
Yeah, just current gym owner has been powerlifter. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we were kind of reminiscing about the days when you were training at in California at Barbell Brigade, and with that group of people that you're all training with. Do you have any? Well, first of all, who was it? List some of the kind of the heavy hitter guys that you were training with there, because it is kind of a pretty cool, unique group that was all together at that point in time.
Yeah, and like the story kind of evolved, like it started, I went to Barbell Brigade on a guest pass, and it was like in its early stages. They had like a dumbbell rack, 2 squat racks, and a bench, 1 bench in the whole gym. And it was in like this little back alley storage shed. And I remember Bart Kwan was sitting at the front desk, and at this time, before I started powerlifting, I wasn't in social media at all. Like I didn't have a Facebook. I wasn't like watching YouTubes or anything. So I didn't really know who these guys were. But I walked in on a guest pass, and he was trying to sell me the membership. I'm like, dude, there's no machines here. Like, I think I'm going to stay at LA Fitness for a while, like it'll be cool to come visit, because they had like 200-pound dumbbells, but really no other equipment. But I met with this one guy on that guest pass. His name was Larry Lurker, and he was a local dude, coached a few of the other guys at the gym, and did a few competitions, whatever. But at that time, dude, I knew nothing about powerlifting. Like I thought it was kind of weird bunch of dudes in singlets lifting weights in front of each other.
Well, I mean, it is kind of weird though.
Yeah, it's extremely weird. Like I remember, like I was like, dude, I'm good. I'm not putting on a singlet, like, or what did I call it? A spandex onesie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I would call it. And lifting weights in front of dudes, like, you know, I'm not homophobic or anything. It just seemed weird to me.
Right. Right.
But he kind of talked me into it, you know, like, and I bought into that group mentality of like, you know, you're training with other people, because I just wanted to get stronger. I was out of football. I did a little bit of like modeling, I guess, like you'd call it, like fitness stuff. But, you know, it really didn't call to me. Like bodybuilding didn't call to me. It was like the fact that I could do something every week and improve on it and watch myself improve was what drew me in. So the guy he had there was Adam Rodriguez.
Yeah. Hulk Smash. Is that his?
Hulk Smash, yeah. And he was an all natty dude, younger guy. I think he was like 23 when I met him, but he was like squatting like high sevens. And at that time, I mean, historically, my squat just sucks. But at that time, it really sucked. Like I had never squatted with wraps or knee sleeves. I did like football training, but the most I would go up to was like 405 for reps. So I really didn't even know what my max squat was. And I knew that if I wanted to get better, I would have to train with guys that were good at it. And Adam was the best squatter I could find. You know, close to 800-pound squatter back in 2013 or 14. And so it was really me, Larry, and Adam that kind of started the group. And Adam knew some other guys from competing. He brought in Mason Cervantes and then T. Papula. And T was a national record holder before Larry Wheels was at 242, but no one remembers that because everybody only remembers Larry Wheels. But T is a freak in his own right, man. Like he was a national competitive bodybuilder and a heavyweight and just fell into powerlifting. But was another guy that came to Adam for squat help because T's squat was also suspicious. And then when the four of us started training regularly, Andy, that huge Asian guy who you guys just had on your show.
Yep. Yeah, we've had Bart and Andy.
Shit.
Yep.
Yeah, so Andy was like watching what we were doing, and he was kind of in the same boat of like, I want to start taking this more seriously, but needed to get to a place to where like people were actually training, because you can't do this stuff alone. And we're talking about a time where when you Googled powerlifting in Los Angeles, no other gym popped up. Barbell Brigade was the only gym that popped up. Now you had like Long Beach had a, I forget the name of it now. I used to go down there, but another hardcore gym. But that was like I was all the way out in Pasadena. That was like a 2-hour drive for me. But that was it. Now there's like barbell clubs popping up like CrossFit gyms. So at that time, you know, Andy had to move across a few states from Louisiana, damn near across the country, to come out to train with us. And he came out to visit, and I don't know what other things he had going. I think he was like working with Iron Rebel at the time and found a position and joined the group. But then we had, you know, 5 guys totaling over 2K and all trying to help each other get better. So it was a really special time.
Yeah, and that's like a time like we were talking about this before, is like we look back and maybe it's just talking about the good old days, but it seemed like such an exciting time for powerlifting, because it just felt like every week there was like these new freaks popping up that you'd never heard of, and there was all this stuff going on all the time and new things happening. And I guess that's how we look back on that time. I don't know what you think of it, but
yeah, I mean, I feel kind of nostalgia with it, but at the same time, man, I feel the same way now. Like I'm like, dude, I'm so glad I'm retired. Like I see guys coming out of the woodwork, and I can't get out of the limelight fast enough.
Yeah.
Get like 1,000-pound deadlifts are starting to be a regular thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when like 800 was the standard, and now like if you're not pulling 8, no one's even talking about you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you think, obviously what you're saying there, you'd agree, some of the lifts have gotten bigger and some of the, you know, some records have gotten broken, of course, and stuff, but what do you feel like the scene is like, or like the powerlifting as a sport right now? Is it more exciting than it was in
Yeah, I think there's
2015?
dimensions to it,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like there's different aspects of it. I think in a lot of ways it's grown in good ways. You got people that are really advocates for the sport and trying to do things that are helpful. But on the other side of it, you get a lot of people that are like noticing that there's attention getting drawn. So they're just like in it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And you know, you got people that are trying to get clout, and social media played a big part in that too. But
Yep.
you know, it just happened to leak into the powerlifting. And then you got guys that are like, you know, I'm not even an old school lifter. Like some of my guys at Indy City will be like, "Oh man, you're like an old head." And I'm like, "Dude, I started lifting powerlifting 5 years ago."
Yeah,
Right.
You know, and like you got guys that are doing this in the 70s.
Yeah.
So you got guys that are kind of like, oh, you know, like it's ruined now, and it's everybody just wants attention, a bunch of fuckboys and whatever. And like I don't feel that way either. You know, I'm kind of like on the fence.
Yeah.
Like I'm still considered myself relatively new to it, but I'm enjoying the ride. And like I see a lot of positive things going. You know, like I said, there's more gyms coming out, there's more lifters coming out, more people are getting involved. Like I got stay-at-home moms that want to compete. I think it's awesome, you know, because I know what lifting can do for people. But on the other side of it, I do see the negative aspect too. So it's kind of like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Like the social media part of it that you brought up too, like obviously we're not talking about ancient history here, like 2015, 2016 and 2017. Social media was obviously still a big thing. Instagram was a big thing, but it does feel a little different than now. Now it feels like it's almost insane if someone's out there lifting big weights and doesn't have an Instagram account and probably a TikTok account and all that stuff. And like, I mean, you guys had them, but it was more like, it like what you said, like, you know, some of the perception is now that people are just kind of doing things for clout and stuff like that. Like at the time, it seems like there was probably less of that. It was more just like, yeah, I'm throwing
Just
my lifts on.
documenting
Yeah,
my training
right.
and
Well,
less
it's
like,
like
hey,
a,
sponsor me.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lifting vlog. And that's
Right.
actually how, like, I got told by sponsors that I needed one. And then that's why I got one, because I was working with Slingshot and Beast Sports at the time. And they're like, you're not going to get paid if you're not posting.
Right. Yep.
And like, it was a big problem at first because I'm really shy and I hate posting. And I would like be like taking these shirtless selfies and like writing captions, and it would take me like 3 hours to think of something because I felt like a total douchebag.
Just like, I
would
hate
just, like,
myself.
yeah, I'd just post it and not look at my phone for 3 hours, and then wake up to a bunch of 12-year-olds calling me a cunt. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The world we live in.
Well, you did end up getting a whole bunch of followers and stuff. Was there ever like was there a short period in time there where it just really blew up for you? Was there something in particular, or was it just over time? Like
it was really organic, man.
Yeah.
Like I think I got guys that have been following me forever, and like I really do think I got some cool people that follow me, because like I try to interact, and like I look at other people's pages sometimes and the stuff that they say, and it's like, you know, I feel like the people that follow me are more quality people, but I think it's more because of the way I post. Like, dude, now you got the story modes and people talking into their cameras like it's a fucking talk show, and they're like doing it for hours and hours and hours, and like look at their story and it's just these little white dots going across the top.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like their interaction with a homeless person outside of Whole Foods. You're like, how the fuck is this relevant to lifting?
Yeah. See, I get nostalgic about it too, because that was like kind of when we were really getting into it and stuff, and it was
Well, that kind of felt like that was like the
time.
birth of powerlifting online. Is like
right.
you start going like 2013 to 2015. It's like
Yep.
that was the
Yeah,
beginning
because
of time.
it was growing so much and it was building momentum, and you had like real fixtures in it. But now it's like you're getting guys that are like coming onto the scene and putting up a crazy total, but then getting burned out.
Right.
And you got like injuries are a big deal, and just people are moving on to other sports because powerlifting is just not organized. You know, you're not getting paid big bucks, and you're not getting huge amounts of attention outside of Instagram.
Right.
You know, like these promoters are hosting these meets and pocketing all the money, and it's really not getting back to the lifters. So you're just spending all this money on a hobby that's essentially like taking years off your life.
Yep.
And depending on how you're going about it, like, so I mean, it could go either way, honestly.
Yeah. Where did the name PT Fitness 500 come from?
Dude, everyone asks me that, and it's like, kind of embarrassing. 'Cause I, don't
I
really
figured
have
it's
a
got to be
story.
something. Yeah.
No, I was sitting there. I told you. So I got forced in to Instagram. I was against the whole idea of it. And then they're like, you got to make a handle. I'm like, what the fuck is a handle? Like you got to come up with a name. And like at that time, everybody was being called their Instagram name. Like I mentioned
Right.
Adam Rodriguez. You guys are like Hulk Smash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I'd walk into the gym and people would be like, Hulk Smash. I'm like, dude, my name's Steve. Like you just call me Steve.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of something that wasn't going to be like,
Your
I'm
new
going to write
name.
it on my belt or wear it on my shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but it was the name of my personal training company.
Okay.
So PT Fitness was my first LLC I owned in California. So I just used that. And the 500, I think it was what I bench pressed at the time.
Okay.
It makes sense though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that, but then like it would happen and people would be like, what's up, PT? I'm like, no, you can call me Steve.
Did the exact wrong thing there.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know like that was like what people were doing.
Right.
I should have came up with something cool, but then by the time like I figured out like that people were going to call me that name, it was already too late. I had too many followers.
Yep. With running Indy City Barbell, your gym that you own, we're pretty into equipment. We've got a Massenomics gym. It's a little club gym that we run here, and we love getting new bars, getting new racks.
It's expensive hobby.
Yeah, it is.
All the
It is.
toys that
But
go with
it's fun stuff. But I'm wondering, with your gym that you run as, your life, I imagine that's a big part of your income and how you try to survive. Is there any equipment companies that you've either had like great experiences with or maybe not so great experiences with, or anything that sticks out to you through those processes?
Yeah, I mean, they're like when I was first opening up, man, there's some vendors that I'm not going to sit here and dog anybody, but there's definitely some people I wouldn't recommend to my friends to go to. And but I would say that Ghost Strong equipment is top tier. Like the quality that they do and how they take care of people is just next level compared to everybody else I've dealt with. And Tim over there is like, he develops personal relationships with his customers. So like you just feel like he gives a shit,
Yeah, we've had Tim on the podcast before too, and he's a cool dude.
We got the combo rack too.
Yeah,
so
we've got the Go
we
Strong
know-
combo rack that it really doesn't get much better than that, I don't think.
No, man, and that's like just putting those rollers in the J cup that helps the bars last a lot longer. So it's things like that some of these other companies you can tell it's made by people that aren't lifting the way we lift.
Right.
So I bought one combo rack from him, and then I bought another one a year later. And the small upgrades he made just from those two, like he learned how to do it better, and he didn't need to. Like this equipment was already selling, and everybody was buying it. Like Steph Cohen had a bunch of his stuff. He's got a bunch of other gyms that are sponsored by him, and he still like came back and like, how can I design this to make it better? So he's a dude. Like I'm actually trying to get another order in with him, but it's like almost impossible now because he's so fucking busy.
Yep.
I'm like, matter of fact, don't buy from Ghost. Stuff is garbage.
Take that back. Yeah.
I need
Goes anywhere else.
Every time I get like a good thing going, it always gets so busy.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Do you ever have to get on members about treating equipment like shit or doing stuff they're not supposed to, or is it pretty good usually, or
I would say like my membership is more educated than most gyms, but I'm downtown Indianapolis, so we got some guys that are like just coming in because it's convenient and it's a closer gym, or it's not YMCA.
Yep.
But I would say for the most part it's pretty good, but we also get a lot of strong dudes and strong girls that like move a lot of weight, so the equipment gets beat up.
Yep.
But that's the way I want it, like my gym's not a bunch of mirrors and brand new floors and like we blast heavy metal, and I want you to use chalk and I want you to be aggressive because that's what it's all about. But at the same time, like be respectful of people.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a tougher line for some people than.
Yeah. I don't get it. And it's never like the regulars, it's like the guy
Right.
that like comes in on a guest pass with his headphones.
Yeah.
He's got something to prove. And you're just like, dude, just chill the fuck out. You're not going to win the whole day in one left.
Yep. I think you're right. Steve, we've got this game called Overrated, Underrated that we like to play with everyone. And we got a special set of Steve topics to go over with you. So if you're ready to play, we'll fire them at you. We'll give you the topic, and you just have to decide if it's overrated or underrated, and you can elaborate as much or as little as you want to. You just can't ride the line. You've got to come up with overrated or underrated at the end of it.
Definitive answers.
Yep.
You want some controversy.
Yep.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Overrated or underrated, Los Angeles?
Overrated. Yeah, I think the weather there is amazing. And I went there when I was like 20 years old, and you think it's going to be this one thing, but it's the exact opposite. It's just turning into a filthy city, and more people are leaving it by the droves lately. It's like it's getting pretty bad out there from my buddies that are still out there. But it's a great place to visit. You go for a weekend, but you don't want to live there.
How long did you live there?
14 years.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay. Wow. So yeah, you got the real look at it then.
Yeah. I got, they say if you make it a year, you don't leave. But, as I started opening up businesses and realizing that, the American dream is just not possible there.
Yeah.
So then are you from like?
Where are you
I'm
from
from
before?
Chicago.
Okay.
Okay.
So I wanted to come back to the Midwest to do a barbell club, but, Chicago is kind of in the same state as LA.
Right.
It's like, you're going to get nickeled and dimed as a small business. Your income tax is so high, and like the cost of living isn't great. So,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana I'm only 2.5 hours away from my friends and family in Chicago, and it's a great city to be in.
Well, isn't Indianapolis, is it like people say like the smallest big city, or, that sort of thing is the feel in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it is, but it's a small city, but like you still got the draws of a big city. You got an NFL team, a pro basketball team, museums and art, and you got everything that you would need. Like Kevin Hart came my first year here, and I went and saw him at the Murat Theater. So it's like you still have big city feel, but like, dude, my commute to my gym, I think I'm like 5 miles. It takes me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I don't deal with in LA. It would have been like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to see not traffic, you could come to where we live in western northeast South Dakota, and
Traffic's great all the time.
Yeah. Well, what do you do in the winter? You got to like go by horseback.
It's pretty brutal sometimes.
Yeah, you just don't go anywhere in the winter.
You just lock in for like a week at a time on occasion. That's good though. What isn't it? I thought I heard you say this one time too, that maybe when you were looking at opening gym barbell club somewhere, you kind of picked Indianapolis strategically too, that they didn't necessarily have something like that there.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you got to go where the demand is, right? So like, there's a couple places on my list, and you look at like how the economics of the city are, like what the cost of living is and what people make, because you don't want to go somewhere where everybody's struggling and try to build a premier gym, but you also need the need for what you're actually trying to sell.
Right.
So I was here. I went to Raleigh, North Carolina. I went to Austin, Texas. I went to Indianapolis, and I was here wearing a slingshot shirt. And at that time, I was still pretty competitive lifting. So I was making YouTubes that were still pretty popular. And I got noticed in the gym, and some guys came over to me, and it was like this local YMCA downtown. And this guy's like, dude, I just wish there was something like that here, because there's no gym to do that at, And I was like, really? So I started looking into it, and there was like 3 chain gyms downtown and a few like small personal training studios. And that was it. In downtown Indianapolis, there was nothing. So I started looking at like what it would actually cost and things like that. And it just made a lot of sense. But, it was one weekend for 4th of July weekend. I was here, and I got that same conversation with 3 different people at 3 different gyms. somebody would come up to me and be like, "Oh man, I saw you lived out in California. I wish we had like a club like that here."
And I feel like your gym story, like if you want to say that's the, kind of the gym origin story, I feel like that's a lot different than most people's.
Yes.
I lived in this town and I wanted a gym, and there was like 5 other ones, but I was going to be the best of the 5.
We're going to be better than there.
And then it doesn't work out. And it's like, well, yeah, you just said all the reasons why it wouldn't work and it didn't.
Yeah, but it's a business, right?
Right.
So you can't.
That's like the most intelligent approach
about
I've ever heard someone take. And it's like, it's
I
also
honestly
logical.
Didn't know people
but,
actually
right.
ever approached it that way.
Right. And it's funny. People approach, a gym is a very real business, but people approach a lot of other businesses that way. But for some reason, a gym is a thing that people take the approach like what you were just saying, Tommy, seems to be so often, and not look at it as a business.
It's one of the hardest startups,
right?
Because it's such a big investment up front.
Well, and no one cares about the gym as much as the owner. Like that's what I feel like gym owners don't get that. It's like no one will ever care about this as much as you do. Like if you're lucky, they'll care about it half as much as you do.
Right.
Yeah, and I get upset sometimes when I'm thinking you know what, man, you gotta get over it.
Yep.
Like you come in and people just leave stuff out or whatever it is, but it's like I said, I built the gym because I wanted it to be used.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. No, that's cool. Okay. Overrated or underrated owning a gym?
I would say underrated. I think that I'm a little biased. It's been my childhood dream to do what I'm doing. So I'm living it every day, but I also think I get a lot of messages from other people and, I've worked in the industry since I was 17. So I've worked for a lot of people that own gyms, and a lot of people just act like it's never going to be what they think it is. But I think a lot of it goes into what we were just talking about, and they don't do enough of those steps in order to make sure they're setting themselves up for success. Because I have so many people that are like, can you make money on a gym? I heard you don't really even make money on gyms. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. Because everybody I know that I talk to about opening up a gym, like Mark Bell, Bart Kwan, they all do really well with their gyms. So I was like, make that step for me. And luckily, it panned out. I doubled my square footage last year. I've been open a little less than 3 years, and I've been able to keep growing and building my gym. I'm living my dream. You guys are talking about how you like buying equipment and what can I do to make it and it's cool because you guys are appreciating what you're buying and what the quality of the equipment is and what can I do to become a better lifter. So what would I want, to make this place even better? Yep. And that's what I'm able to do. So it's fun, man. And I got a great team with me now that help me out. It's a lot of pressure, being sick and trying to do everything. So having the right people in place takes a lot of pressure off, and it's just a lot of fun. I would say in a lot of ways, my health situation isn't great, but I take, you remove yourself from that situation. And I look at my life damn, man, I'm pretty lucky. To do what I do every day, to coach the clients I coach, to have a gym that's growing and doing well in this economy, and being able to buy some kick-ass equipment, man. Wouldn't want to do anything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would just buy more equipment for my gym. That's not a lie.
Absolutely. I feel that. Yeah. Okay. Overrated or underrated muscle ups?
Underrated. They're tough. And I think, as far as being a functional exercise, I hate using that word, but no, not really. Doing it just kind of looks cool. But I would say muscle ups are underrated over 225. If you're under 225, I think it's a little underrated. But being a big guy, and I used to be able to do them, but now trying to do 5 pull-ups in a row is a struggle for me. So I definitely miss that explosiveness.
Well, I think even when you're at your strongest, you really seem like you could do some pretty athletic stuff still.
Yeah, dude, I could knock out sets of 10 when I was 290.
And that's one of those things you get a big guy doing a muscle up, it doesn't look like that should ever happen. It's a really unnatural looking movement.
Yeah, well, I started to notice like the equipment's not made for it either. Those cages
Yeah.
are rattle. You could watch some of my old videos at Barbell Brigade. Like I think I permanently dented the rail.
Yeah, you had a pretty decent vertical at the time too. I remember seeing a couple jumping things too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but I did a series on brute strength, and it was like CrossFitter versus bodybuilder versus powerlifter, and they had us go in and do all these tests. And I weighed in at like 305 pounds, and I had a 37-inch vertical.
Jeez.
So I was like, I know at my prime, I know at my prime it was over 40.
Oof.
Like I used to be able to dunk outside of the paint, but I was like,
Jeez.
230. I was like 230 back then.
Yeah.
6'3", 230.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Wow.
then when I got over 300, I could barely dunk,
Yeah.
but nobody could be around me. Like you couldn't even look at me.
Yeah.
It was very rare.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Overrated or underrated? This is the last one here. The movie The Program.
I just saw you guys like that post on me.
We were
I was
just
like, I
talking
wonder
about
where this is coming. Underrated, man.
Yeah.
The Program is awesome. It probably, I'm a big movie buff, but probably top 3 sports movies all time.
Yeah, it seems like it's got kind of like a little cult following.
It's great. Like I played college football, and I would do Alvin Mack quotes all the time.
Yeah. Wasn't Donnie Thompson in the program, like as a extra or something? He was on the field.
Yeah, he played a lineman, and
Yeah.
I don't think I knew who he was when I watched it. But
Right.
I think he made a few posts about it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're from Chicago, and I remember seeing a picture you posted one time. Were you purposely going for the Urlacher look, or was that just a coincidence?
Oh yeah, no, because I came from Chicago, so like they gave me 54.
Okay.
I played middle linebacker, and then the shaved head thing, man, I had way before Urlacher did. I've been shaving my head. I think he's a little bit older than me, but I definitely had no clue who he was when I started that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no. All right, that's cool stuff. One last thing I was wondering, if you could only pick one, you could only do either look strong or be strong, which do you go with?
Dude, that is a tough question. Because my whole life it was be strong,
Yep.
and it was like side effect of being strong is you look kind of strong.
Yep.
But now I'm in a situation where like I just don't have it anymore. Like it's whether it comes back with a transplant or not. Like the way it is I'll never beat my old numbers, which like I'm okay with. I have my run, and I feel good about it. But what do I do from here? So I think if you'd asked me that 3 years ago, I would have said be strong.
Yep.
And now I think I'm going to say look strong, because I'm never going to compete again.
Right. Right.
Like I might do one more meet and just to say that I came back, but I'll never be competitive. So why not look good?
Makes sense to me.
Perfect. Do you need, like, are you taking, I know you say you do train people as well. Like, are you taking clients or anything like that? Any of that stuff you want to get out there?
Yeah. I mean, anybody that's interested in coaching or training, like you could contact me. We're always taking new people in Indy City. We got a great group of trainers there. So even if I'm not available, we got other people that come in. But like I said earlier, man, like you can't do this stuff alone. If you're looking to be the best, why not train at the facility where you got a guy that actually cares?
Yep. I agree with that completely.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. That's good stuff. We appreciate having you on, man. That was cool.
Yeah, man, it was great. Thanks for reaching out. I don't get a lot of these anymore.
We'll get you again sometime then to make sure.
Yeah, for my epic comeback.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. When
I like it.
when you're ready for that next meet, let us know, and then we'll talk about it again.
All right, absolutely, guys.
All right. Awesome. Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Steve.
All right, take care.
Well, Tanner.
What do you think?
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Get the cool beans.
Big Steve gets the double cool beans. Good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked to him before, have we?
We've sent him maybe like a shirt or something.
Yeah, but I'm
here and
saying
there.
like as far as like outside.
No,
of
I don't
just
think we've ever seen him anywhere. Like
Yeah.
at the, had never run into him at the Arnold or anything like that
Yeah,
before.
he's a cool dude.
Yes, he is. It is fun though, like that group of people then, and it just does seem really cool, really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just this little speck in time, and
Yep.
it was
Yep.
it was they had a cool run there for sure.
Only for a moment, and a moment's gone.
Yeah.
Good stuff though. Should I hit him with a little something, or
Let's do it.
Okay. Today's episode was, speaking of gym equipment, that's pretty sweet.
Oh,
Let me tell you, and speaking of things that are in the past, Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid 70s. At that time, he was working for Image Barbell, building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believes was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling, and it was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and PT Fitness 500 powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. Visit them at texaspowerbars.com. Check out their power bars, different finishes they come in, deadlift bars, squat bars, bench bars, all-American bars. They got all the bars. texaspowerbars.com.
Awesome.
Couldn't have said it better yourself, could you?
Could not have. Tanner, did we ever get any follow-up on our school lunch session last week? I didn't know if you heard anything.
I didn't really hear too much on that. I put it in the story today, overrated, underrated on the school lunches. And I just even like looking at the school lunch tray. I'm like, yes,
with that nice rectangle piece of pizza.
Yeah. I'm like, is there a human alive that can't relate to like what that, like you see that and doesn't like, did never have that?
Is there a human life? Probably.
There
There's
is,
probably
yeah.
one
Well,
or
yeah,
two.
right.
But probably not many.
Right. I feel bad for the people that don't like
That
look
didn't
at
get to
that.
live that life.
Yeah, right. Because I love a good school lunch.
All about that school lunch.
Yeah. We do have some merch for sale on our site. If we haven't talked about that, we do have merch for sale. Tommy's wearing the Massenomics gym tee. One of my personal favorites, I think.
Actually, sizes are getting pretty down there on this
They
one.
are
so
on that one.
If you don't have it, you don't want to
Same
wait.
with the raw power tee with the red tee that pops with the bison on it.
Mhm.
That one's getting down there too. I'm wearing an old classic, the Jefferson deadlift tee.
And there's only a few of those left.
They're
And
actually on
once-
sale right now.
Once those are gone, they're going away for who knows.
They're going to
how
go
long.
into the Massenomics lockbox for a while.
the vault.
Yes.
Full of gold coins and gold bars.
Did you see though? You can get any color Massenomics shirt you want as long as it's black.
That is the
That's
old
what
saying.
you actually came up with that, but it's quoted as Henry Ford.
Henry Ford came up with
it.
He was a big Massenomics fan. Most people don't know that.
It was a big inspiration. Like that's how he came up with the assembly line. It's like, oh, I see how they're packing orders. They're in a line.
Oh, okay. So they said it. Yep. It makes sense. They don't have one guy running around.
Oh,
everywhere.
each person will specialize in a certain skill. Like Tommy knows how to design the t-shirts, and then Tanner knows how to pack them up and sell them.
And they'll get a website that takes the orders for them.
He's like, I could create a car,
Yeah, if we applied this to the car, we might be onto something.
a motorized automobile.
And the Ford Motor Company was born.
Yeah, thus the
strong,
Model T.
It was strong as a house.
With the best knurling.
The Model T was born. It had the best knurling, maintenance free.
None of that's true, I don't think.
Well, it's kind of old, so
Yeah.
you can't really disprove it. So
Nobody remembers that now. We always had my dad had a Model T. Always
Did he?
when we were growing up. We got rid of it. He got rid of it. I don't know how long ago. I think just kind of sick of messing with it. But yeah, and it ran, we would get it out and then have the crank start on the front, and we'd drive it around and.
Even when you were younger, like this car is so freaking old. Like, would you think that? Yeah.
Yes.
Because growing up, I also had, and it's funny now because your perspective of what old people are when you're like 10 is way different of what old people are when you're 30s.
I thought my people that were almost like people that are my age now, I thought we're extremely old. when I
me
was little.
too. Me too.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm like, you guys, you are ancient.
And now, like when I see those people that I thought were old then, I'm like, oh, you actually are ancient now.
That's still probably the weird perspective though, because then as soon as we're
It always does
65 or it's like, oh, we're not so old. This isn't so old after all.
But I did have.
It's like I thought you were old 25 years ago. How does that work?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But we had a neighbor when I grew up, a few houses down. I'm assuming they were really old. I'm like 90% sure they're dead now. So they were old, but they had a Model T. And I remember thinking, that's the oldest thing ever made. Like almost to the point where like, it's not even cool. It's so old.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they are interesting. We would ride around in it. It's the type of thing you get running like 3 times a year.
Oh, really?
Ride around in it going really slow. And, like not a lot of, the Model T is not an exciting mode of transportation in comparison. Even like when you get into like the 1950s,
nimbleness on the road.
Right. Yeah, in like 30 years they really progressed. When you went from like the 20s, 30s to like the 1950s and 60s, like cars got way different.
Once you hit the 60s, things really started to go a different direction as far as power and performance goes.
I've actually been doing a little unsuccessful digging, trying to get the car that I had in high school.
What did you have?
I had a 1995 XR7 Mercury Cougar.
Really?
So it was,
Mercury, rest in peace.
Yeah, rip. But it had the 4.8 liter V8 engine.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, and it was a rear wheel drive, and
I'm not sure. Not sure I can actually picture
to most
this.
people it wouldn't look old enough yet to be cool. And it's obviously not,
Not, what year did you say?
You could type anywhere from like 1992 to 1996 would be really similar body styles, but mine's like 1995.
Okay.
And
it's really coming back to me seeing
Thunderbird was essentially the same car at the same point in time. Yeah, the Ford, it was slightly different. Like there was a different pitch to the back of the window and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I had the Mercury Cougar's rear wheel drive V8.
What color was yours?
Black.
It was.
And it had, like the leather seats,
like
the sun
right there, sort of.
Yeah. Yep. Very much like that. And it had, it was a 1995, but it was a very nice, like, a really nice car when it was new. I'm sure, it had the sunroof and like the 6 CD changer in the trunk.
Yeah. Dude, I actually had a 96 Monte Carlo.
Okay. Yeah. Also a cool car on actually.
I mean, it wasn't rear wheel drive, but I mean, 2-door cars don't hardly exist now.
Yeah, and it was it was a coupe, and like it's because like you said, they don't really exist now. So I've been doing some looking, and really, really hard to find one that's like not completely demolished,
just destroyed or been like shittily modified.
But it's funny, someone in Aberdeen has one that they had at the car show this year on Main Street.
Was there?
A 1994. It's black, everything except. They almost didn't even make any non-V8 ones. And his is a V6. And I'm like, nope, that's the deal breaker for me.
The funny part is, so what would you say, 4.8? Or what was?
I think that's what that engine was at the time.
And like by today's
like
standards for a car, that is an enormous engine. Like, and it's probably not as fast as you would think it would. I'm sure it's fairly fast. But and like by today's standards, if a car had a V8, like it's like the only cars getting that are a high performance sports car at this point.
Yeah. And then after that, I had the Grand Prix GTP, which was like the 3.8 GM motor, but is like they're supercharged or whatever. So I thought that was cool after that, but that's still too new of a car.
Was that a 2-door or a 4-door?
I had a 4-door version of that. The 2-door is a lot cooler.
It was a little cooler,
same way. But I kind of like that car, but that's not quite old enough for
Pontiac, RIP.
Yeah, yes. So I'm if anyone owns one of these mid-90s Mercury Cougars, I am in the market for one.
Wow. Do you think can you get one? Are you trying to find one with like under 100,000 or do you not care? Okay.
No, I do care. I don't want a piece of
do you think
crap.
do you think that exists for does that exist for under 15? I don't even know what the pricing is on these things.
I talked a little back and forth with the guy in town who is a V6 and I was still just interested in talking about it, and I'm not sure what I would get it. I still really, it's so wild. The price ranges are so wild because they're either so junky, they're not worth anything. or if they are in really good shape.
They're treating it as a collector car.
Yeah, because it's still not actually worth even if it's in great shape, like the NADA value or the Kelly Blue Book value, it's still not worth anything. It's worth like maybe
and that's the weird thing for us though, is that like 90s cars for us are now over 20 years old.
Right.
Like,
yeah, this car, 1995.
You can do cars from the 90s
26
that are 30 years old.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, well, that also is to the point where it's like those cars are kind of getting valuable, like because they're disappearing, they don't exist.
Well,
and there is people of our age that start to have money to possibly be buying those cars again, put value on them, and so they are going to start going up in value.
Well, it's like I graduated high school in 2005. A car that would have been 30 years old then would have been from 1975.
Yeah.
Which you would have considered a very,
and
like an old,
like, 70s muscle cars.
Right, right.
But for me, like, yeah, those cars are cool. Like Chevelles and Camaro. Like those cars are cool and all that. But also like part of me is like, well, but that's what dad cars are. Like those are the cars, like my dad loves those cars. Like those would be my dad's dream cars.
Yep.
But those aren't the cars like we grew up looking at. So like they don't have quite that cool factor to me that I think maybe some people might think that they have.
Right.
You know?
Yep, I get that.
Because no dad's gonna be like, yeah, I want a 97.
No, exactly.
Or a 95. You know, that's never gonna happen.
Almost no people are gonna say they want that. I'm like one of the, but that's why I'm like, why would a nice one even be valuable? Because who wants it?
But they must not have made very many of them though, right?
No, I don't think it was a wide. Yeah, that's
part
the
of
problem.
it too.
Yeah, right. Because like, there's probably not that many people that want them, but there probably overall is enough people. Like, well, as a little more time goes by, there will get to be more and more, because that's like the cycle. You get old and then you want like
the things that were cool when the things that you looked up to when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is
well, I'm gonna be excited for the day you pull up in that thing, Tanner.
That's my wife isn't really completely sold on it, because we've looked at the pictures and stuff, and she's like, "That's not a cool car," and I'm like,
you don't get it.
I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you're saying, but to me, it is like, even just looking at the pictures of it, I'm like, like looking at the interior, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how that was set up. Like, that's like,
it's so funny to me, like to just see, like, because I had a, I think it was either 96 or 97 Monte Carlo.
Yep.
I got that when I was a sophomore in high school, and I had that until I was a senior.
What color was it?
Was
it
it
red?
silver.
Okay.
It was silver.
Because red was always a big Monte Carlo color.
I had a classmate or two in high school that had a red one.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do look. Yeah. That was when they played way more into the kind of the race car, NASCAR thing too. But so I had that, and then when I was a senior, my dad got a new vehicle, and he gave me. They had a 2002 Grand Am.
Okay.
Yeah, Grand Am 4-door.
Yeah.
Which is Pontiac, RIP, you know, but
rest in power.
But it's so funny, like, because all GM interiors were the same in everything.
Right.
Then. And like my parents had all these GM vehicles. So like I can see a GM interior from like 96 to like 2005. And man, that like
back.
takes me back. Like, especially like those 96, because all my friends had, I mean, you live in the Midwest, especially at that time, like small town Midwest, like in Toyotas, Hondas, those didn't exist. Like those those were not a thing.
No,
and
there was a few kids in my school that had like not even Civics, but I can't even remember. They're probably a pretty popular foreign car at the time. Like what was like what
maybe
else?
A Camry or
a
Corolla
couple,
or
like
something.
a couple of those.
No,
around,
those did not exist where I mean, we lived far away. That like literally, if you probably went to my high school parking lot, it was probably straight up GM and Ford vehicles. I guess there'd be some Chrysler stuff mixed in there too, but that's what everyone had. That's what everyone had. And so now, if I ever see a picture like online of a mid 90s, early 2000s GM interior, man, that takes me back to being like 14, 15, 16. It's so funny how that does that though.
Yeah.
But I think this all started when the 6-disc changer. Yeah.
The
6-disc changer in the trunk. Dude,
in the trunk.
Yeah.
So you load them in there, and then you pick when you're in the
car.
Yeah, in the
like
cockpit.
The Monte Carlo I had like the little tiny, like it had the stock stereo.
Yeah.
But then it also had like the Pioneer little controller for the 6-disc changer in the back.
Yep. I had eventually changed out my CD player though to like one where
Yep.
you could take the face of it
Yep,
off.
yeah, because that was the problem of people stealing the head units,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was an actual problem.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
would break
yeah.
into your car to steal. I mean, that personally never happened. That wasn't a
Right.
problem where I live, but
Me either, but it was cool to have the. I
Yeah.
never even practically.
yeah, you
like,
could
I never
pop it
utilized
off, or like then I think they made ones. Didn't they make ones that would like flip around? Even wasn't that a thing
Okay.
too?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there started to be all these things, and now it's like that's like a market that almost doesn't even exist. I mean, I'm sure it exists,
Aftermarket
but
CD players for
do-
cars.
does-
Yeah.
like
Well,
you're
first of all, I'm saying CD player, and that's
Yeah.
a really funny thing to say, but like
But like an
the
aftermarket, like
aftermarket's-
now so much shit goes through your car. Like to do that on any modern car would be.
Well, also, it's not just this slot that you pop out
No, I
the
know,
older.
it's like your whole
Yeah.
it's your nav system, like your buttons, your infotainment, all
well,
that
most
stuff.
of it, it's a screen.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, you can't
It's not
even-
this rectangular thing. You're like, oh yeah, pry this back here. I'll
Yeah,
pull the old
unless
one
you're
out.
going full West Coast Customs mode.
Right.
I think you're in trouble there.
Yeah. What another thing that just people won't get to experience is like all the different CD players that people would put in their car.
Or just being excited to have a CD player.
Yes. I had kind of just earlier as we were talking, I was thinking of what could maybe be a funny idea for our last ad. Do you know what is our last ad? It's the Strength Co, right?
I do, and I actually have a note about the Strength Co too.
Okay.
I was really, really impressed. Grant has this repeated thing that he does where he does the go-to signs.
Yeah.
And man, I was quite impressed with Grant's marker handwriting. It's got some good style to that.
Some
thing.
panache.
It does. He's got that going on. I was
it's
impressed
definitely not
with
like
his-
mine.
Yeah. Definitely not like mine either. So Grant, your marker handwriting is top notch.
Well, should we I was thinking we'll just try and call him and ask him if he
Oh,
wants to do that.
okay,
And
okay.
he has no idea we're calling, so I don't know
this
if
is on
he'll,
the spot, so he might not answer.
So, and he might be like, what do you guys want?
So then we might have to stall for like a few minutes and maybe he'll call back. Otherwise, yeah. All right. I like it.
We'll
I like it.
It's earlier in California too, so
Yeah. What time is it? Oh yeah. 8:00.
we'll give it a try. If not, he'll listen to this and realize later why we called.
What a fool he is.
Uh-oh. Might just have to go old school on the ad.
What they say? There's always next week.
Yeah. In our case, there is.
Your call has been forwarded.
Oh,
Well,
he missed it.
missed a shot.
Yep. He could have had his chance to read his own Strength Co ad.
All right. Well, I'll do my best to pick up the slack here. This episode is brought to you by The Strength Co. Grant Brogy was born in the late 80s, nearly 2 decades after Buddy Caps began lifting. In the late 90s, Grant's brother Jordan bought him the new Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Grant's love for weightlifting began. In 2001, Grant joined the local YMCA and began training with weights. In 2009, Grant discovered the book Starting Strength, and in 2012, as a lieutenant in the Marine Corps, he began teaching Marines this method. In 2017, Grant opened his first gym in Costa Mesa, California, and the Strength Co. was born. In 2020, during a major iron shortage, Grant sought to bring back quality manufacturing of Olympic barbell plates to America. His innovation, adaptation, and can-do attitude brought about the greatest plates made in decades. The plates were accurate, anti-fragile, and instantly became the go-to plates of hundreds of lifters at Massenomics Gym. You can check out The Strength Co. and their go-to plates online at thestrengthco.com. That's thestrengthco.com.
I do like going to those plates.
I do too.
They're great.
Something about them.
They just beckon you.
Some magic something he puts in them.
That's only Grant will know, and he can't find out from him
Yep.
because he doesn't answer his phone.
Yep.
So us will never know why people go to him. But
Never know this week. Maybe we'll know next week.
we'll try again next week. Grant's in our Discord community.
He is. He's an active member of our Discord community.
Yeah, and you could also be an active member of our Discord community. All you need to do is become a supporting member of the podcast. It's simple. It's easy. It's relatively affordable. There's some different options depending on your budget, but head over to our website, and is there a specific link that they can go to?
Massenomics.com/join.
Massenomics.com/join, and you can get signed up to become a supporting member. You'll get access to this Discord community. there's
thriving community.
a very
full of-
thriving
full
community.
of both real people and bots.
Yes. Bots that you like, though, kind of, sometimes. Go get signed up, become a sporting member. Also go to our site, buy all of our other stuff we have for sale. I'm going to hit you with just a couple.
If you're going to the
5-star
showdown
review.
meet,
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure to stop by the booth.
Absolutely. I'm going to hit everyone with just a couple 5-star podcast reviews. We are on the road to 400, I think. We're at like
we
300. We're at like 370 reviews.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we got to get
Last
375.
time I saw the bot in Discord, I think it said like 369 or
Yeah.
something, and I said, "Nice."
Nice. 69. You could leave us a 5-star review, though. Here's a couple, for example. This one's from March 29th, 2021. These all are. Great. 5 stars. My gains have gone through the roof since purchasing the lift shirts and shotgunning LaCroix. Can't stop listening, from Big Mason. Next one is from 612 SDSU 705. Titled The Road to 400. Special thanks to Western Northeast South Dakota for being Canada's ground lock deadlift slippers.
I like that.
Throwback reference. Next one is from a disgruntled hat enthusiast. Titled Don't Buy Their Hats. I tried to support these guys by buying one of their hats, and I was severely scolded for it. JD Power and his associates are going to hear about this. 5 stars, though, still.
Very good.
Great reviews.
Most important part.
That is. Tommy, is that all we've got for this week?
I think that's probably all we got.
better hurry up and go to Kansas City.
Yeah, we got to shut her down. We got to.
We've got a showdown to show up to.
That's right.
Are we going to show down or show up?
Only time will tell.
That's right. Where do they find you on Instagram?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird. You can follow Massenomics on Instagram. We do have one video that has 1.7 million views. So
On TikTok.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
Did I say
Is
that
it
wrong?
1.7?
1.7 million views. I
Like
think.
as in closing in on 2 million?
On 2 million views, yeah.
That is the dumbest thing I've
Yes,
heard. I've
that
heard
is-
some dumb things lately, Tanner. That's
Even just on this episode.
that's
Yes.
something with maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yes. Make sure
Wow.
to follow us Instagram at Massenomics.
See ya.